There's really nothing that can prepare you for that gut punch feeling of finding water where it shouldn't be in your home. It's a sudden, completely overwhelming crisis that can honestly happen to anyone. So, all right, let's dive right in and break down what actually happens, and more importantly, what you need to do when water invades.
Yeah, just picture it for a second. It's the middle of the night and you're jolted awake by that sound. Your heart just drops as you realize a pipe has burst or your water heater has given up. That moment of pure panic, it's real. But, and this is the key, having a solid plan is what turns that chaos into a controlled situation. So let's build that plan together, right now.
So, what are we usually talking about here? What are the common culprits? Well, it's not always some big dramatic flood. More often than not, it's something sneaky, like a washing machine hose that just gives out, a failing water heater, or maybe a clogged AC line up in the attic that just drips and drips for days. And that's the scary part, right? Things like a hidden roof leak can be soaking your insulation and framing for ages before you even see a tiny little stain on your ceiling.
All right, so the water's there. The immediate problem seems pretty obvious, right? Get the water out. But here's the thing. The real race is against an enemy you can't even see. And the clock starts ticking literally the second everything gets wet.
And this is so, so important to get. Mopping up the puddle on the floor, that's like the tip of the iceberg. It's a tiny first step. It's the water that you can't see that causes the real catastrophic damage. We're talking mold, structural rot, all the stuff that can ruin a house from the inside out. Okay, let's break down this timeline because it is absolutely critical. In just a matter of minutes, stuff like drywall starts wicking water up, acting just like a sponge. A few hours go by, and the wood framing of your house actually starts to swell and warp. But here's the real kicker, the big one, that 24 to 48-hour window. That's when all those mold spores that are just kind of hanging out in the air all the time, they find that damp spot and they start to colonize. That is the deadline. That's what you're really fighting against.
I mean, it really is that simple. Every single minute you wait, that water is soaking in deeper and deeper, turning what might have been a manageable problem into a massive, expensive reconstruction project. Time is 100% not your friend in this situation.
So how do the pros handle this? I can tell you, they don't just show up with a couple of fans and a wet vac. No way. There is a standardized, proven playbook that takes that chaotic crisis and turns it into a step-by-step managed process.
Okay, this is a really important distinction to make because a lot of people use these two words, mitigation and restoration, as if they're the same thing. They're not. They are two totally different phases. Think of it like this. Mitigation is the emergency response. It's the first aid. It's stopping the bleeding, right? It's all about preventing the damage from getting any worse. Then comes restoration. That's the part where you rebuild and make your house look like the whole mess never even happened. So the whole professional process really boils down to these three phases. Phase 1, the emergency crew comes in and stops the immediate threat, gets the water out. Phase 2, they bring in the heavy-duty specialized equipment to get everything, and I mean everything, bone dry. And only then, only when it is confirmed to be completely dry, does Phase 3, the final restoration and reconstruction, even start.
All right, let's pull back the curtain a little bit here because winning against water damage isn't about luck or guesswork. It's pure science, it's following strict standards, and it's using some seriously powerful technology. This right here, this is the industry Bible, the IICRC S500. It's not just a set of friendly suggestions. It is the professional standard that certified technicians live and breathe. It lays out the exact right way to do everything, which, by the way, is why insurance companies trust the process and the paperwork from crews who follow it to the letter. And just to give you a sense of the kind of power we're talking about, get this. One single commercial-grade dehumidifier can pull 20 gallons of water vapor out of the air in just one day. 20 gallons! That's like 4 of those giant water cooler jugs you see in an office. That's moisture that's completely invisible, and there's no way you're getting that out just by opening a few windows. And that amazing dehumidifier? That's just one tool in the arsenal. The pros roll up with truck-mounted extractors that can suck out thousands of gallons of standing water in no time. They use thermal imaging cameras to literally see moisture hidden behind your walls. And then they use these calibrated moisture meters to get exact scientific readings to prove without a doubt that a wall is truly dry. So here's the crucial takeaway. There's a measurable goal. The job isn't finished when things just feel dry to the touch. Nope, it's done when those moisture meters confirm that the building materials are below a specific moisture level, usually under 15%. Hitting that number is the only reliable way to guarantee you won't be dealing with a nasty mold problem later on.
Okay, let's talk about realistic expectations, because this is huge. Proper scientific drying takes time. It just does. If anyone promises you they can have it all done in 24 hours, you should be very, very skeptical, because they're probably leaving trapped moisture behind. For just one flooded room, you're realistically looking at about 5 days of just drying, and that's before any of the rebuilding can even start.
All right, so we've talked about the problem, and we've talked about how the pros solve it. Now, let's bring it all back home, back to you. What do you do in those first few chaotic minutes when you discover a water emergency? This is it. This is your emergency action plan. First, and this is the most important, safety. If you can get to your breaker box without walking through water, shut off the electricity to that part of the house. Step 2, stop the source. Find your home's main water shutoff valve and turn it off. After that, your very next call should be to a certified restoration company. Then call your insurance agent. And while you're waiting, document everything. Pull out your phone and take tons of photos and videos. You really can't have too many. And look, I get the impulse to try and handle it yourself, but for anything more than a tiny spill, this quote really says it all. Sure, you can go rent a carpet cleaner, but you can't rent the thermal camera and the years of expertise it takes to find hidden moisture in your walls or under your floors. Trying to DIY a major water issue almost always, and I mean always, leads to much bigger, much more expensive problems down the line. At the end of the day, a water emergency is a pop quiz in preparedness. It's sudden, it's stressful, there's no doubt about it. But knowing the dangers, understanding the process, and most importantly, having a plan, that makes all the difference in the world. So let me ask you, is your plan ready?